and welcome to my video. By the way, I am R-Denn and today we're going to talk about the basic forms of literature. So our objective for today is at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to know the basic forms of literature, appreciate the forms of literature, and differentiate fiction and non-fiction. So before we jump into our topic, we should have our prayer and ask our Almighty God to guide us as we tackle a new topic. Let's bow down our heads and pray. Amen. Before we start with our new topic, let's have our quick review. So our previous topic is what? Yes, correct. It is all about foregrounding. So what is foregrounding anyway? Yes, a quick review about foregrounding is widely used in text analysis, literary and linguistic and stylistics, referring to patterns of language that stand out in a text. So that is foregrounding. Since we already have tackled about foregrounding, let's go to our new topic, which is the basic forms of literature. So what is literature? So I have definition of literature in here. So literature is a book and other writing, usually by expert authors. And literature is anything that is written. So when we say literature, it is written or it talks about books and other writing, usually by expert authors. So we have the forms of literature. The forms of literature is number 1, fiction, number 2, non-fiction, number 3, drama, and number 4, poetry. So these 4 is also called the genres of literature: the fiction, non-fiction, drama, and poetry. Now we will be covering about fiction and non-fiction today. So when we say fiction, what is the first thing that will come into your mind? So write this on your notes and submit it to me later as part of your activities. So let's start with the fiction. So when we say fiction, it's a story that did not actually happen in real life, or it describes events and character that aren't real. To make it clear, fiction, let's take the first letter, which is F, and it stands for fake and false, which means it is not real. Did you get that? So fiction with an F, which is fake and false, the best example in it is your friend. Can you relate that? The best example of fiction is Twilight. So have you ever read or watched the movie Twilight? Yes, we all know that Twilight is fiction because what? The characters in the event in the story is not real. And it's made up with imagination, and we all know that vampires aren't real. Number 2 example is Harry Potter. So if you ever watch Harry Potter or read the book Harry Potter, you will probably know that it is fiction. Why? Because characters and events in Harry Potter does not exist, and it's made up with imagination. In short, Harry Potter is the best example of fiction. So, did you understand about the fiction? Yes, if yes, fiction stands for F with the fake and false. It is made up with imagination, and characters and events in the story is not real. Now that you have understand the fiction, let's jump into our next form of literature, which is non-fiction. So when we say non-fiction, what is the first thing that will come into your mind? So I want you to write that in your notes, and you're going to submit that to me later as part of your activity. So when we say non-fiction, it is a writing that is real and factual, or that is actually happened, and it is not made up with imagination, which means characters and events described in the story is real. Yes, totoo. When we say non-fiction, it relates to real life events. All of the characters are real. So non-fiction, let's take the first letter of each word, which is N and F. It stands for not fake or not false. So it means it is real. Non-fiction is real. The best examples of these are biography, autobiography, documentaries, books and textbook that you read in the school, For example, a science textbook that explains the life cycle of a frog, a cycle of photosynthesis, and etc. So keep this in mind that fiction is fake, which means it is made up with imagination, or the characters and the events of the story did not happen in real life. So when we say non-fiction, it is not fake or not false. The characters and events in the story happen in real life, and it is based with factual evidence. Now I have a question for you. Is chismis a fiction or non-fiction? So state your argument in your notes. You're going to submit that to me later as part of your activity. Now let's have our quick review. So when we say fiction, it is fake, and non-fiction, it is real or not fake. Fiction, it is based with imagination and it does not relate the character and events in the story does not happen in real life. So when we say non-fiction, it is based with factual evidence and it all happened in real life. And now let's have our short quiz. I want you to write in your notes if it is fiction or non-fiction and have a brief explanation why it is like that. Okay, so number 1, a story about talking turtle that races with a monkey. Okay, a story about turtle that races with a monkey. Is it fiction or non-fiction? Write that in your notes and make a brief explanation about it. An article about traveling to another country. So an article about traveling into another country. It is fiction or non-fiction? Write that in your notes and create a brief explanation about it. Number 3, a novel about underwater adventure. It is fiction or non-fiction? Write that in your notes and create a brief explanation about it. Number 4, an essay about the benefits of daily exercise. So an essay about the benefits of daily exercise. It is fiction or non-fiction? Write that in your notes and create a brief explanation why is it so. Now that you have understand the fiction and non-fiction, so I think we're all set. So I want you to send your answers. Number 1, when we say fiction, what is the first thing that will come into your mind? Number 2, when we say non-fiction, what is the first thing that will come into your mind? And number 3, is chismis considered a fiction or non-fiction? State your arguments. And number 4, the 4-item quiz, which is write down which is fiction and non-fiction and create a brief explanation about it. So I want you to send your answers into my email, which is kyle@teachers.org, which kyle@teachers.org. If you receive an auto reply, it means that I have already received your answers. So this is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it and you have learned something in it. So see you in my next video. Bye bye guys.